Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. Today we are talking about the Ashes, just finished, 2-2. What a series. It's been awesome. We probably wouldn't be so happy if Australia had won the series 3-1. Um, as English fans, obviously we're happy that it was 2-2. Um, we're not going to talk about moral victories and that sort of stuff. That's not what we're here to talk about. But the fifth test was like pretty much every other test match in this series, one of many ups and downs, one that ebbed and flowed the entire time. And yeah, it came out with England clinching the victory. What are our thoughts? What are our initial reactions once this test had finished? James, go for it.
My initial thought was 2-2 seems about fair. And even though we'll get some salty Aussies saying, England should have lost more, or some salty English people saying, oh, we had the better part of a draw. 2-2 seems perfectly right in terms of where these two teams are in the world. I would back them both equally to beat any other team at the moment. I would say they would have an equal chance in beating India, which is practically zero. I would give them equal chance in beating New Zealand, etc. So as far as like a fair reflection of how these two teams stand in the world, it seems fair. And it has been an outstanding series just based on the quality of cricket that's been played and the amount of tight finishes that we've had. I'm pretty sure it's the closest Ashes there's been for a very long time, if not ever, just based on if you count a close finish as like finishing within under 60 runs or something. It's been super tight and incredibly entertaining. And thank you to Moeen Ali for coming out of retirement, because he made it very entertaining as well. And Stuart Broad as well. What a last test to go for. So yeah, super from my perspective.
100%. I mean, what a series. And there was a fair amount of controversy in there as well. There was bits of clumsy play from both teams. Think about, that catch, not catch from Mitch Starc in the Lord's Test. You've got the Carey run out, stumping, all of that. It's had so many stories in this series. It's been really good, hasn't it? I mean, one of the fun things from this fifth test was that, it looked like England were home free after their England second innings. They set Australia that huge target, didn't they, of like 384. And Warner and Khawaja come out and play that awesome knock to start the game off. And so many ups and downs. And then Steve Smith looks like he's going to keep it home. It looked like Ben Stokes has dropped the Ashes when he took a celeb catch or had a celeb drop, whatever we want to call it, and wasn't in full control of his body. Yeah, so much great stuff. I want to say though, I think what has really interested me is thinking, would the series have been different if Chris Woakes had played from the start? Like if Chris Woakes was in there from the first test, like he ended up being England's player of the series and only played 3 test matches. He scored 79 runs and took 19 wickets. And, if he'd have been in there at Edgbaston, at his home ground, could it have been a different game?
I mean, Chris Woakes is Mr. Consistent, isn't he? And I think that's why he struggles away from England, because if you're consistent in other countries, you're not going to get the rewards. You need to have something different. Whereas in England, when the ball's doing a little bit, he's so dangerous. I think he averages low 20s, like maybe even like 21 in English conditions, which is crazy. But then away from home, he averages over 50. But yeah, he's such a valuable asset to this England side. His technique is good enough to be a very good number 8. He's probably a number 7. And also his bowling is insane. So yeah, he's definitely had a massive impact on this series, along with Mark Wood, who his spell at Headingley basically ignited England's Ashes hopes. So yeah, there's been some good additions. But the Australian team, they've played well. Like you think about David Warner, he's had a couple of good innings. Question marks over whether that 60 in the second innings will take him all the way to that Sydney test that he wants to retire on. Mitchell Marsh has come into the series and looked good. However, when you look at some of these players, Stephen Smith, David Warner, Usman Khawaja, maybe some of the bowlers as well, like Mitchell Stark, they might not play in England again. So do you think this was Australia's last kind of chance to win a series in England outright?
Yeah, not ever, because there's still plenty of talent coming out of Australia, and plenty of good young players. Like Lance Morris hasn't come over to England yet. Who I think he got injured, but he bowls absolute thunderbolts for Australia, and we've never really seen him play.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be plenty of good players coming out of Australia, in the same way that we could probably name an England side for the future that we reckon could beat the Aussies. So I think there's plenty of good players to come. But as far as this generation and having, one of the best batters since Bradman in Steve Smith, who might not tour England again, it could be it for the long time. I don't know about Labuschagne. I think Labuschaigne's a little bit younger.
Yeah, he's a bit younger. Yeah,
so he could end up touring again. Yeah, he's only 29. He's got plenty of years left. He's got another couple of tours in him.
It's interesting, isn't it? Where like we know it's Stuart Broad's last Ashes. There's a great chance it's James Anderson's last Ashes. Like he's 41 now. Like England are losing those players as well. Mark Wood and Chris Woakes as well. Will they still be in an England Test match in 4 years' time? I mean, probably not. So that's a whole new bowling attack for England. Moeen Ali's gone back into retirement. Really, the only players that I can see of England still playing for England is probably Zach Crawley and Harry Brook. Maybe Joe Root if he's, trying to beat Tendulkar. But that's the only thing that I could even see happening.
Well, how many years is it until the next
4
Ashes thing in England? Is it 4 years?
2027, yeah.
Yeah, so I could see Ben Duckett playing as well. He's not that old. But you're right. I mean, certainly don't see Stokes holding out for that long. But maybe in a future podcast we can talk about who we predict will be the England like those future stars that could play in that 2027 Ashes then, because there's so many players that are like up and comers that we'll have a little look into county cricket and shield cricket and see if we can predict the 22 players that are going to face off of that first test.
I do think that looking at England's team and their ages, a lot of the core like Stokes, Root, maybe not Jimmy Anderson, but Mark Wood, I can see them still playing in a year and a half when we go to Australia for the Down Under Ashes. And I just think about a series like this, and we've had series similar to this one in England where England have won. So if you think about 2013, England won 3-0, and everyone was saying, even though England won by that considerable margin, the series was a lot closer than the scoreline suggested. And we went to Australia and we got hammered 5-0 that winter. And then 2015, England won 3-2. Go to Australia 2016-17 or 17-18, get absolutely hammered again, 4-0. And 2019, the same thing happens. Closely fought series. Go to Australia. Australia beat us 4-0. Whereas this time, it's been a closely fought series, but I don't come away from it thinking that next time we go to Australia are going to hammer us, because I think even though it was a closely fought series, I think England were in control of the cricket the majority of the way through. Maybe controversial of me to say. I'm not sure what your guys' thoughts on that are.
It's the hope that kills you. I think I agree. I'm also perhaps unfoundedly optimistic about touring Australia, but I imagine that it will be those hostile conditions. It's the bowling that's going to be the big difference, as it is most years. I mean, obviously, last time we toured Australia, it was the batting that really let us down. But I think without Stuart Broad there, who offers a big point of difference, if Ollie Robinson he needs to be fit. We're not going to take Chris Woakes because we've now established that he's not an overseas test player, and that's a good thing. Play him in his best conditions.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting who we take and who's not going to be injured. Because will Jofra Archer retire from test matches? Because will we ever see him play a test match again? Can Ollie Stone ever play 3 matches in a row? Will Mark Wood break by that point? Will Ben Stokes be bowling off spin? All of these things I'm really interested by.
Yeah, but when you think about the mindset when England have toured Australia, the only time England have looked comfortable in Australia in the last 40 years, or maybe 30 years, has been that 2010-2011 tour where we won 3-1. That's it. And England had a very good team, and Australia's team wasn't that great. Whereas when you think about the mindset of the way England are playing right now, they're kind of there's a method that will work in Australia. I think England's defensive mindset, playing on swinging pitches, is why we've won in England, but because it suited us. Whereas England prepared completely different pitches to what we're used to seeing in England, and yeah, I think England have shown that they can probably compete in Australia. I'm not really sure what your opinion is, Benj, or if you sit somewhere in the middle.
I think if we go down there with like sort of more of a bazballing mindset to what we had, it will definitely be like a different game, I think. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. There's so many points of difference. Like, I imagine we'll still see Stark Cummins Hazelwood being the core of the Australian pace attack when we're in Australia. Again, will we see that trio back here in 4 years' time? I imagine probably not. So it feels like it's got a bit of an end of an era vibe, the end of this test match series for both England and Australia. There's going to be a lot of differences in there, but yeah, as we've said, it's going to be a great series. I think in terms of a farewell test for Stuart Broad, I don't think it could have got better for him. Taking a wicket with his last ball in test match, hitting a 6 with his last batting delivery.
Yeah,
I think that's just some awesome stuff. So thank you, Brody, for all that you've done. Yeah, I haven't really got much else to say about that.
He is going to watch this, so thank you, Brody.
Yeah. Feel free to top onto the pod anytime. Someone I do want to talk about over this series, who, a lot of us didn't in the first place, and would potentially say has been the batter of the series, certainly for England, is Zach Crawley, who has repaid the faith that was shown in him, and he produced actual consistency at the top of the order with some incredible knocks, some game-changing opening partnerships with Ben Duckett, and some really good slip catching as well. Yeah. So I am I'm surprised, delighted as well that he's been as good as he has been. I think we all now know that he is locked in his place in the side forever, no matter what happens. But does it mean that we were wrong? Like, have all of the decisions that Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes made, Zach Crawley, Johnny Bairstow, bazball as a whole, have all of those like absolute proof of concept been proven right?
It's hard to necessarily say. I mean, one thing we kind of have said is that should Zach Crawley be in the team based on the results? You look at the results and you think, well, maybe he shouldn't be in the team. But when you look at a test series like this, it kind of shows you how high his ceiling is. And if he gets on top of bowling, then other teams, like he was batting, scoring those runs against the best bowling attack in the world. And I know they didn't bowl so well to him at the start of his innings, but credit goes to him for scoring 189. Like he batted incredibly well. And we've seen glimpses of it. We saw it in Pakistan. We saw it against Pakistan when he made his 200 odd. He's got an ability there to really take all bowling attacks to the sword. And and he finished this series with an average of above 50. His batting average in test matches has improved to above 30, which we love to see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does in India. And with this almost renewed confidence that I've got the backing of the team, but now I've proven it. Because that's all. Because anyone could say you're really good, you're really good, you're really good, but until you believe it yourself, that's where it starts.
I've always believed in Zach Crawley. I've never been a Zach Crawley hater. I said it at the start of it. He's going to come out of his shell and play well. So I'm sitting here smugly thinking, nah. I've always said he's had the potential, and I'm going to stick with that narrative.
No one said he didn't have potential. No. It was whether or not he was the right choice.
All of this nonsense about open with Bairstow. No, stick in Zach Crawley. He'll be fine.
I'm sure we can find some clips where you said exactly the opposite of what you're claiming right there. One thing I did like to see, I'm very happy to see, was Ben Stokes. Obviously, it was forced through a bit of an injury to Moeen Ali, but Ben Stokes coming in to bat at 3 because he's not bowling. I think that's the right call. I like that a lot. Obviously, Ollie Pope is going to be uninjured at some point, and the next Test match that England play was it January in India?
Yeah,
so it's a long, long way away, which is really sad. But do we think that Stokes batting 3 could be the way that you get folks in? Because I think we're going to need our best keeper for India, aren't we?
Well, Stokes has the technique. Everyone said he's good enough to be a top order player. It's just dependent on whether he bowls or not. And I don't see him needed as much in India with the ball. Yeah, I think batting at 3 is the sensible choice. I mean, he's batted really well this series. He's scored over 400 runs, average over 45, hit that amazing 155 at Lords. Yeah, he's batted very well this series. He's shown that he's got the technique. And I think in India, batting at 3, seeing your captain walk out to the pitch at that number, I think that's good, especially with Joe Root to follow, who's a great player of spin. Yeah, I think it's the best place for him.
Does it not give you Joe Root memories back to Joe Root batting at number 3 as captain and failing miserably?
Yeah, but Joe Root's not on number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Stoke isn't a natural number 3. I feel like where he's best is in that middle order at number 6. I think that's where he should be. But I do agree, he has got, like, in an ideal world, if he could bat and bowl, number 6 would be that best spot for him. But realistically, he could bat anywhere from 3 to 7, really. Like, he's good enough to do that. I think just some fun stats. Ben Stokes hit 15 sixes in this Ashes. And the next highest 6 hitter was Joe Root, who hit 7. So that just says a lot about this series, I think, in terms of the intent that both of them played with. Sorry, James, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that so a couple of years ago in the nets, I think it was Rajasthan Royals, there was a little clip that was released of Ben Stokes bowling some off spin. And I think I remember sharing it with you lads. And I was like, oh, look at this. Ben Stokes bowling off spin. This is brilliant. And we saw it in the nets the other day that he was bowling off spin. And he did mention it in the post-match press conference or the post-match interview that, oh, I'm bowling off spin now. Do you think we're going to see in India Ben Stokes and Joe Root as the spin twins, 3 and 4 batters, and they're both bowling off spin away from the left-handers? That's something I'm interested by.
I think it...
And then what? Will Jackson, Jack Leach as well in there?
Why not? Rahan Ahmed. Just get everybody a spinner.
To be honest, it depends how the Indians prepare the pitch. Because the last time we toured India, Axar Patel, in his first ever series, was just absolutely owning England by just getting the ball on the spot. And then Joe Root comes out and gets 5 for 5 with the pink ball. And I think if India prepare these dust bowls and we play with a pink ball, anyone can bowl off spin and probably do well. I feel like even Ollie Robinson's off spin would be effective. Yeah, I think Ben Stokes bowling off spin, I don't think he would say that and not be 100% serious about it. There will be a bit of seriousness about it because if he's too injured to bowl fast bowling, he wants to be involved in the game at all times. And if that means bowling spin, then that means bowling spin. And we've seen this Ashes, the value of a player like Moeen Ali, who's a batting all-rounder, but England trust him with the ball, and he's done well. So maybe we'll just have to wait and see how Stokes does in that aspect.
I'd love Stokes to get fit and be able to bowl his.
He's a great
seamer
seamer
because he's such a good seamer. He's a good enough, as we've said in the past, he's a good enough to be a main seam bowler and a top order bat. Like he's that good of a player. He's, you know, Botham-esque, Flintoff-esque, Cameron Green-esque, but he just needs to be fit enough to do it. So ideal world, he has some knee surgery or whatever to get that knee back to where it needs to be able to play that. But failing that, Stokes the off spinner, yeah, why not? Why not? It can only be good.
Love to see it. And then a final thing on the Australians. I mean, after watching the presentation, it seemed that they were they seemed quite sad. They didn't come to do what they wanted to do in winning the Ashes, but they have played very well. And I think when you look at all the stats next to each other, the bowling stats for Australia are very similar to England's bowling stats. The batting stats are very similar to England's batting stats. And I think even though you might say that England have been in control of a lot of the cricket this series, that's just the way England play. Whereas I think Australia have come with bazball. I think Australia have come with clear tactics, and the way to negate bazball is almost not play the opposite style of cricket, but they've shown that they're very good at absorbing that. And the time the wheels fell off was Old Trafford. But apart from that, I think they've played it in a very good way, and they deserve to win those first 2 Test matches.
Absolutely. I think Australia showed that they were the more adaptable across the series, I'd say. But they forced England to adapt after those first 2 Test matches, because they showed that bazball could be stupid by just bowling short balls, everybody behind square. Let's just let them get themselves out. And England did. They fell for it, and it was because of Australia's tactical nous that England had to then think a bit more. They had to adapt then, and it was a bit of chess, and it was really good to see that both teams brought the best out of each other. I thought we saw the best of adapting, and also completely contrasting styles. Like in the same match that we had, what was it, like a 91 off 106 from Joe Root. The innings just before that, we had a 9 off 82 from Marnus Labuschagne. So that you saw both sides of the coin, and it was an outstanding series. But now, what are we on to? Probably 50 over World Cup. Is that the next big focus for the cricket nerds?
International cricket, yeah.
International cricket,
so, yeah, stick around. We will be following plenty of that. We might do a little bit on the 100. We'll see. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support during the Ashes. It's been a proper roller coaster ride. Very fun. Don't forget to follow our social medias. It's all down in the description, especially in that link tree. You can also listen to our podcast if you're out and about on the flight home from Australia. You can listen to our podcast on all major podcasting sites. So thank you very much, and like and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.